the Fisticuff podcast. I have a special guest today. I have my buddy Anthony. Anthony, what's up?
What's up?
How are you?
Good.
How's everything going?
We're doing good. How's everything?
Good. Thank you for coming on to the podcast. I'm excited to have you on. I know we've been trying to do this for like a couple of weeks now.
Yeah.
So
been a few weeks though.
Yeah, right. So I'm excited to finally have you on. So this is good. This is really good.
Looking forward to it, man.
It's definitely a change of pace from talking by myself for like an hour. You know,
yeah.
Actually having someone here is nice. It's nice.
Yeah.
So again, thank you. I appreciate you being on here.
Of course.
Guys, this podcast is brought to you by govx.com. For all you first responders out there, law enforcement, military, firefighters, EMS. Guys, if you don't have it or don't know, go to govx.com. Govx.com, sign up, have your department ID ready for you, and send it over to GovX so they could verify it, and you get all the discounted rates on all your first responder needs. Clothes, equipment, if you want special optics for your guns, whatever you want, whatever you need, it's there for you. GovX.com. All right, guys, you get up to 50% discounts. It's great. I've used it for about like a year now. So I always get all my law enforcement stuff on there. So guys, again, if you're a first responder, take advantage. GovX.com. Sign up, send over your department ID to GovX, have them confirm it, verify it, and then you'll have unlimited supply of discounts, which is nice because who doesn't want discounts? You know what I mean?
Of course.
So, all right, guys. On today's podcast, before we start the podcast, we have a brief intro for you guys. So, we'll be back in just a hot minute. Boom. All right, guys, we're back on the Fisticuff podcast. I don't know. I love that intro. I don't know why. It's just a song, and then the whole like Fisticuffs part just
really get you hyped.
It gets you going, right? It definitely gets you going. All right, guys. So real quick, again, we have Anthony here on the podcast with us. Thank you, Anthony, for being on. We're gonna jump right into it. So real quick, I just want to briefly talk about the fights that we had on Saturday night. Kevin Lee versus Charles Oliveira, a Brazilian fighting out of obviously Brazil, and the fight took place in Brazil, okay, or Brasilia technically. However, just like with pretty much every sporting event going on, either canceled or going on without, and like wrestling going on without fans, this event took place in Brasilia with no fans. So it must have been a lot different for the fighters. That's just weird. Could you imagine like performing and like not being used to perform and you're so used to being performing in front of fans that like all of a sudden they're like, yeah, no fans coming. Now you got to perform.
I feel like it's a little easier for like actual fighters compared to like WWE and AEW people, because like I feel like for actual fighters it's like, yo, this person might kill me. I need to like actually be in the zone. Whereas like wrestlers, you're just like, you're kind of feeding off the crowd. Like you kind of know if your match sucks or not by how silent the crowd is, you know?
That's true. That is true, actually. I mean, because like for obviously like for fighters, like you said, like it's a little more like in the zone. They got to be more serious about it. And it's kind of like more traditional martial arts anyways.
Yeah.
And then for wrestling, it's like they're there for strictly like entertainment purposes. So it's like they're entertaining us, but you're so used to it being with people there, but they're now entertaining with like just the home viewers. You know what I mean? So it's like it's weird. So I feel like that
helps everybody. Yeah.
Especially for those guys like wrestlers, they're like what? They're out on the road like 5, 7 days, like 5, 6 days, 7 days a week. And that's what they do. They're used to that kind of thing.
And if you watched like Raw and SmackDown this week, you could see them like kind of like looking to the stands, even though like nobody's there.
Yep. They're like, oh hey, wait, there's no one there. Let's just pretend like someone's out there. Oh my god, too funny. Way too funny. But yeah, so we had the event in Brasilia. Kevin Lee versus Charles Oliveira was the headliner. My take on that fight specifically, going into that fight, I had Kevin Lee winning. Kevin Lee, he's an up and coming lightweight. Charles Oliveira, he's kind of a veteran. He's won his like last 7 fights, I think, and like had like 4 knockouts previously to this last fight. So it was a solid fight especially for contention for the next for the next contender, if you will.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I had Kevin Lee winning, and that did not happen. Charles Oliveira won by submission in the 3rd round via guillotine chokehold. The fight was it was a good fight. It was definitely one-sided though. Charles Oliveira just completely demolished and completely like had that fight won.
Yeah.
He controlled the whole. He was aggressive. He controlled the whole time. His strikes were landing, throwing flying knees, flying kicks. He looked a lot smoother. And Kevin Lee came in overweight too, which is like you're a shitty fuck if you come in overweight.
How much overweight was he? Like just 5 pounds, or was it like 15?
I think it was 4 pounds over.
Okay.
He was 4 pounds over, which like might not seem like a big deal, but like there's like restrictions that like UFC fighters have, especially in the UFC, that like you have to like make weight.
Okay.
Fights to like get your purse and stuff like that. Or you're like the opponent that you're going up against will like take like a percentage of that person's purse. You know, so it's kind of like if you come in overweight, you're kind of a shitbag. Like
it's not like boxing where like if you come in a little overweight, it's not like.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's a lot different. The two sports definitely have different restrictions when it comes to like that kind of stuff, like becoming like overweight. They actually had a fight. I actually talked about my last podcast or the podcast before that. It was a flyweight matchup between Joey Benavidez and Figueroa, and Figueroa. It was for the vacant flyweight title, right? And Figueroa came in overweight by like 5 pounds, so he couldn't make championship weight. So he ended up getting screwed over. He lost his money. He lost like 25% of the purse, and on top of that, it was basically Joey Benavidez' fight to win or to lose, because either Benavidez came into that fight winning that fight and becoming champion, or he went into that fight losing and basically no one becoming champion. What's crazy is that Figueroa actually ended up knocking Benavidez out, and he couldn't get the title because he came in overweight at championship weight, so he wasn't eligible for the title. So not only does he lose the title, he loses his money, but still gets the knockout win. So it's kind of like, it sucks, man.
You're just an idiot, though, at that point. Like,
exactly.
Like, for me, like, to lose 5 pounds takes a little bit more than a professional athlete. I feel like those dudes, they could, like, drop the 5 pounds over a couple of days and then gain it back immediately after,
Exactly. Because they're professionals. That's what they do, man. You know what I mean? Like, their job is to make sure that they get to the weight that they need to be at to perform, So, I mean, obviously that situation, it sucks. It didn't work out for him. So not only did he win, but he won, but he lost his money and he lost the chance at the title. So that sucks. But for this time, on Saturday night's fight, there was no chance. It wasn't a championship fight or anything like that. So he just lost a portion of his purse. But I mean, he was getting shit for losing for not making weight, and then after he lost, he still kept fighting. I guess he got like completely choked out to the point where like he didn't know that he tapped. So like he was still trying to like grapple with Charles.
Wow.
So it was like yeah.
Yeah.
So he was getting it from other fighters, but yeah. I mean, so the hype train for Kevin Lee, he had his last fight he won via knockout leg kick, um, but so I had him winning. I was wrong, which normally I'm not, but I was wrong this time. Actually, I'm like when it comes to like me like analyzing fights, I'm pretty good at like predicting like a winner. I
Yeah.
would say maybe like 85% of the time, which I think is like a good stat. But yeah, no, this time I was completely wrong.
We're
But
gonna have to get you like a track record. Like you're gonna have to start keeping track of everything.
right, you fucking Microsoft Excel and just like
Yeah.
tap up all the times I was right.
Yeah. Get you an actual percentage and be like, okay, this is how many times I'm right.
Yeah, exactly. Oh my god, could you imagine? That'd be funny. It's actually, you know what? I'm probably gonna start doing that. It's actually a good idea. I feel like,
I mean, it's actually pretty good. Like you could be like you know, you could be like an analyst, honestly, like a full time. Like they got mad at Stephen A. At least you know your stuff. You know.
yeah, oh yeah, with Stephen A. He's an idiot. He's an idiot. Yeah, if I knew how to like do that, I probably would quit my day job and pursue that.
See, I
Because
wasn't mad at him about that because, well, I mean, I'm not as like big into the fighting as you are, but like, also you got to understand that like he's just taking it from like a casual person's perspective, like I would, not like
Mhm.
a person who's in fighting. You know.
So the problem with Stephen A. is that at least with that situation specifically, is that Stephen A. works with Max on First Take. Max
Yeah.
is a boxing analyst. You know what I mean? So it's like Stephen A. also always like on big time fights. You know Stephen A. is looking or watching. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like for a fight like this at this caliber with McGregor, like the whole world's watching, right? So my thing is with Stephen A. is, yeah, I would say yes as a casual viewer, he that's probably like where his perspective was, but because of what he does and like the magnitude of like how
He
many
should have
fights
known better.
he watches, I honestly would think that he would know better than like kind of like a different grade, like casual viewer, Stephen A. Smith, the Joe Rogans of the world. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
like he should have done some research beforehand.
Correct. Because
It's,
to say what he said about Cowboy, just, I mean, like, I've watched all of Cowboy's fights, and I know from firsthand experience that boy does not give up. You know what I mean? Like, that is
yeah.
not his blood. So it's like, it's kind of like, come on, dude, what are you talking about?
See, I think they should have just had Max on there, but like Stephen A. is just everywhere, and they pay him so much money, so they're like, we might as well use
Exactly.
him. Yeah.
Exactly. And he has a big mouth. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So he's
But
an
then
attraction. Like, his mouth alone is an
yeah,
attraction. You
like
know?
Max, I love listening to him talk about boxing, but then when he talks about like football, I'm like, do you even know like what you're saying? Sometimes.
Dude, I'm telling you, man, to be well rounded as an analyst is very hard. You got to
Yeah.
like follow every sport like to the T. Like for me, with boxing and MMA, I could tell you inside and out like how everything goes down. You know what I mean? Baseball, I could tell you inside and out how everything goes down. When we talk about football, basketball, hockey's kind of the same way. Hockey, I'm pretty good at too. But like football, basketball, like I kind of stopped watching football for a while,
Yeah.
um, for like a year or two now. So I'm kind of like I pay attention, but like I'm not like nose deep in it. And then basketball, like I'm completely like I don't give a fuck about basketball. So it's like I don't care as much.
Yeah.
Um, but like yeah, like so like I understand like it's hard to like put your 2 cents. It's like me putting my 2 cents into basketball about like LeBron James or some shit or
Yeah.
like
Exactly. And
so it's like, I don't know any better. I'm just fucking talking about what I hear, what I see, kind of just like using like the senses of my own like worth to see like okay, this is maybe what I should be talking to. Well, what the fuck do I know? I don't know shit. You know what I mean? But and that's kind of how I felt like Stephen A. was, you know. And Joe Rogan was quick. Joe Rogan was quick to put him in his place. Which, Joe Rogan. I love Joe Rogan, dude.
I love Joe Rogan, but I don't like how he just let him continue to talk during there, and then he went on his podcast like 4 days later, and I was like, "Yo, Stephen A. doesn't know anything." Like I always listen to Joe Rogan's podcast, but like, dude, just tell him up front. Just be like, "Yo, you don't know what you're saying right now. Let me help you out."
You know? I mean, he said that he disagreed and like put his 2 cents in, but it wasn't like how, like you said, it wasn't nothing like how he was on the podcast. On his podcast, he like,
he was like, yo, this guy's an idiot. I hate this guy. Like, bro, just be upfront. Like, you're the go-to guy.
It also sounded like Stephen A. was trying to like fight him.
I don't think.
Like it almost got to the point where like he was like, yeah, like I'll see you out in the streets or some shit.
Stephen A. just doesn't like anybody talking shit about him. Like, just say it to his face and then you're good. Which is what I was saying, Stephen A. Because he calls everybody out. If anybody says a word about him, he'll just be like, "Yo, come say that to my face, dude."
It's true.
Yeah.
That's Stephen A. style, man. You know.
Yeah.
That's how he does it.
But anyway.
So Kevin Lee, he lost. Stylistically, I think he was outmatched 100%. Striking, I think Charles Oliveira just completely demolished the fight, dominated it. And then coming out in the 3rd round, Kevin Lee looked like he had like a second wind. He was striking good, and then all of a sudden he goes in for a takedown, and as soon as he went for the takedown, he did exactly what you weren't supposed to do, and that's lead with your head and like kept it at the hip. And that's when Charles Oliveira, and a guy like Charles was a black belt in jiu-jitsu, was able to go in for the guillotine and was able to choke him out. So we'll see what happens next with these 2 guys. We got the Tony Ferguson Khabib fight coming up next month in April.
Is that still going on?
As of right now, it is. So what they did was they canceled. UFC canceled 3 events.
Yeah.
London, Colombia, and Portland. That all ranges from like March to like early April. Brooklyn is still good to go as of right now.
But I heard they're not going to have it in Brooklyn. They're looking for a spot, right?
I'm pretty sure that they're still having it in Brooklyn, but they're looking for another venue just in case.
Okay.
So it's kind of like one of those things where it's just like if all else fails, we still have this venue we could go to. Probably maybe Vegas, California. Okay. But we'll see. I hope that still goes on.
I hope, because like they canceled, like the NFL draft isn't gonna have like people, and that's in Vegas this year, and that's in like April. So we'll see like what's going on. Hopefully, we need sports. We need sports back, man.
I know, bro. I've never gone this long without watching sports. You know what I mean? Like, this is a long fucking time. Yeah,
and that's why I was telling my buddy, I was like, if I lose WWE, man, I'm gonna lose my mind. Like,
yeah. Oh, dude.
If I don't have wrestling to watch, like, what else am I gonna do?
Well, I mean, I'm honestly surprised that they haven't like canceled like wrestling, but I feel like they can't. I mean, like, I feel like they could, but they can't. Does that make sense?
I'm surprised AEW hasn't.
Well, I think AEW is doing what WWE is doing, because they canceled their Rochester show. They canceled Rochester.
And they postponed the Prudential Center.
I think they postponed the Prudential Center
because that was Blood and Guts, which was supposed to happen, and I think that's happening in the summer now.
Yep. And I think there was one more event that they were.
But I know tomorrow they're going to be in Jacksonville.
Yes, Jacksonville, but I don't think they're having any fans.
Yeah,
I think it's going to be like a private setting.
I think AEW is at the point where like they can cancel for this, and it's not that big of a deal because they've kind of made their impact already, where like fans will come back when it's back. You know,
that's true.
Like WWE, they're doing it because they got to keep that streak going of like Raw being like the longest running live television show ever.
Yeah.
You think?
Yeah. They
And
have their own thing.
yeah, and they gotta keep these stories going for WrestleMania. Otherwise, nobody's gonna care.
Well, that's what kind of like what I was thinking. Like, so everyone was saying like they should cancel, or so like everyone was saying they should push back WrestleMania, right? But like from a storyline perspective, like don't like doesn't like WWE Creative have storylines for each wrestler like 4 months in advance?
I don't think so. I think it's more like, not that I'm like saying anything from an insider's perspective, but I don't think it would be that far ahead because it seems like things change so quickly,
Mm-hmm.
based off of like look at what happened to Rusev. Rusev's completely off of like
Okay.
programming. Like he was doing that Bobby Lashley thing, and
Yeah.
his contract negotiations apparently are going like sour. So like he was just completely just written off of TV. Like he doesn't have a storyline now.
Yeah. He hasn't been on TV since that whole fucking storyline, and that was a
Yeah.
shit storyline in itself.
And it never ended though. We never got like the
Yeah.
ending. It's just like
Yeah.
it just
It
disappeared.
just stopped. It just stopped.
Yeah. So I don't think they really have that long term of a plan. I think it's more like week to week, if anything. It's probably
Okay.
like, they probably have like, if I had to guess, they probably have like certain like, okay, we know we want Becky to fight Shayna. They probably knew that like 6 months ago,
Yeah.
or a year ago. Like those big matchups they know. And then I think
That
like
makes
when
sense.
it's like,
Top tier wrestlers.
yeah, like the mid cards they kind of just figure out along the way.
Oh yeah, that makes sense. I just feel like something like that. Like I mean, let's just say for argument's sake that they did have like 2-3 months in advance of storylines. Let's just say, right?
Yeah.
To postpone WrestleMania, I feel like would hinder those storylines, and now everything's just gonna get pushed back. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
When I feel like WWE might not be able to do that because they might not be able to actually like they probably can't afford to do something like that because it will just hinder all like their plans. You know what I mean?
They're gonna have to get really creative. Like if they do
Really creative.
if they move it to June, like some people were saying, and have it at MSG, they're gonna have to get creative because like how far are you gonna take that Edge and Randy Orton storyline without them fighting? Like
Yeah, exactly. Like you can't, especially who knows what Edge is able to do like in the ring, anyways. Like how far he's allowed to go, how much he can go. Like who knows, like how much he's been training and stuff like that. I mean, obviously, I'm sure he has been training, but like,
he has.
is he only? You know what I'm saying? Like, how much can he possibly do if they were to push it back? Like, can he be on weekly TV for the next 2 months, 3 months before June? Let's just say.
Yeah, it's gonna be like, I love the long term storytelling that they used to have, but like just like change it up and make it like add like an extra 3 months to a storyline. It's gonna be really hard.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
But I also don't want to watch WrestleMania at the Performance Center with no fans because that's gonna be really weird.
Well, that's another thing too. WrestleMania is such an iconic event. It's like it's literally like the Super Bowl of wrestling. You know what I mean? So it's like you have such a big event where you have fans from across the world who come in, and they come in for that week, man. It's WrestleMania week. You got Access, you got Hall of Fame induction, you have NXT Takeover, you have all these like things that are going on. You
and
know,
you got the other wrestling like Ring of Honor. They always have something.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I feel like you're kind of losing out on that spark. And you remember from last year when we went, we were able to do the Access Hall of Fame and then WrestleMania. Like that was like the best time that we had for like WrestleMania. You know what I mean? Yeah. So like I feel bad for people who were supposed to go who can't go now to experience that because like that's an incredible experience. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's kind of like it's unfortunate. Like I can't imagine having WrestleMania be at the Performance Center. I get Raw and SmackDown, sure, NXT, sure, but WrestleMania at the Performance Center, like I don't know, man. Like that's just like that's going to be a really if they don't push it back and that doesn't actually end up happening, that's going to be a weird thing to watch.
It really is, because like we'll probably end up watching it together somehow, and we're gonna like, a bunch of us, and we'll have like 8 people there,
Yeah.
sitting there for like 7-8 hours watching like just two guys in a wrestling ring fight. Like it's just I don't know. It's just like
Yeah.
it's weird, man.
It really is. Imagine us hanging out and we're watching it and we're just like, wow, yeah. I feel like the fans really create the excitement of the matchup. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because
So
you get the oohs and ahs and all that stuff,
yeah,
and then like you get the energy, and that energy as viewers we feed off that because like we feel how the fans are, we see the match, and then it's like then we put our 2 cents into it, and it creates like some type of like not to sound corny, but like magic. You know what I'm saying?
yeah. Like
But
the trophy match last year would not have been as exciting without fans there.
no, absolutely not. Hell no.
Yeah.
That matchup was exciting because of the fans.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Because everybody was behind Kofi.
Yeah, it was crazy. It was crazy.
Let me just say, like, I was just on Twitter earlier, right before we started this, and I was watching a clip of Rock versus Hogan from WrestleMania 17, and that was the craziest match. Like, just the fans were so hyped to be there that it got me hyped just laying on my bed watching it. I was like, oh my gosh, I wish I was there. That was the most amazing thing ever.
Yup.
And had I watched Rock versus Hogan, they're not the best wrestlers on, like, they're great at promos and everything, but they're not the best technically sound wrestlers.
No, they're just powerhouses just doing their thing. But who cares?
If I watched that without fans, it would have just been like a regular match. It would have been like, oh, this is cool. It's just the atmosphere.
Exactly that. The atmosphere makes a big, big difference, man. And like, we're not talking about like freaking like Extreme Rules. You know what I'm saying? We're talking about WrestleMania. You know?
Yeah. But then like you push WrestleMania back. If they push WrestleMania back to June, then it's like a month and a half, and SummerSlam's there already. So they gotta like.
Well, so yeah, it's like a 1-2 punch. Like, what are you gonna do?
Yeah, they gotta like. They might have to like cut down on WrestleMania matches, honestly, and just save some for SummerSlam or something. I don't know what they're gonna do.
That's what I'm saying. Like, it could totally affect how other pay-per-views go. You know what I mean?
They might throw in like a rant. Like, remember they used to have Fastlane? They might throw in a random pay-per-view if they got to push it back, where there's actually no fans. You know?
Yeah.
Just so they can continue the storylines. But they don't have to like not have fans for WrestleMania. I don't know. That's probably a dumb idea, but it's something, you know.
Exactly. I don't know. We'll see what they end up doing, man. But it's just God. It's crazy. It's crazy. I don't know, man. It's crazy to think about. You know what I mean? It's because it's just WrestleMania is such a. It's such a like a. It's greatness. You know. It's like it's something you look forward to, you know?
So it's like when you said it's like the Super Bowl, it's like you're almost guaranteed though you're gonna have like a great match at a WrestleMania where like these past 2 Super Bowls have been kind of like clunkers where they're not too exciting. And even though we're all together, the Super Bowl is not that great. WrestleMania, you know you're gonna get like we have at least like 4 matches on the card that are gonna be awesome. Yeah.
Exactly. Like you know that can't fail. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I don't know, man. We'll see what happens, but if they do that shit at the Performance Center, I just feel like it's not going to be the same. I mean, the matches might still be great. You know, I'm not saying the matches are going to suck. The matches might still be great.
Yeah, it's just
not going to have that same feel. You know,
like this past SmackDown and Raw, it was just like I actually liked the promos in the empty arena. I thought that was kind of cool.
The promos were neat.
Yeah. Like the Bray Wyatt thing that they did, that was awesome.
I feel like Bray Wyatt is like on a whole different level when it comes to promos. Yeah. Obviously. But like the fact that he did what he did without fans, like I was sold on it. I was sold on it just watching it. I was like, wow, this is amazing. I was like, this is actually pretty good.
Yeah. And I mean, John Cena is John Cena, so you're never gonna like.
Of course.
I can't remember a bad time when Cena was like actually bad at putting a promo. Yeah.
Never. That guy is like rock on the mic, man.
Yeah. So,
but like I said, those matches were subpar. Did you see like the international like video of like was it a Becky Lynch and Sasha Banks tag team matchup on SmackDown, where like they went on a commercial break and like the wrestlers were just chilling.
Oh yeah, but I mean, people were getting mad about that. I was like, what do you want them to do? Do you want them to just keep wrestling? And they probably like that match was probably thrown together last second. They were like, who do we have?
Yeah,
because Paige was supposed to be there to cut a promo, I think, on Bailey or something.
Yeah.
So they probably had to figure out the match during that commercial break, the rest of it, and how it was going to end.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So that's probably why they were just. I mean, I don't. Me personally, I didn't care that they were just hanging out. Like I don't like. Why take bumps if you're not performing in front of like fans? You know what I mean? So it's like, as viewers, we're not going to see it. We don't know. You know what I mean? So it's like, who cares if they want to take it? If they want to chill, let them chill. Because like you said, they're probably still freaking trying to figure out the matchup, anyways.
And you're just going to end up like you're just putting yourself at more risk of injury if you're just taking random bumps for no reason. You know?
Exactly. Especially now with like WrestleMania coming up, you don't want like wrestlers unnecessarily getting hurt.
Yeah.
You know. But
and that match was okay. I thought the Jeff Hardy match was pretty good.
That sucks too because that was like his return match.
Yeah.
So like, it kind of like was like one of those things where it was like, man, don't you wish it was like a better feel if he came back like when people were there?
Yeah. You know? But I mean, I don't know what they're gonna do with Jeff. Like, I feel like it's just gonna be like a, you know, how Matt Hardy just got thrown to the back.
I think creatively. I don't think he's gonna have any kind of direction creatively. I think my personal opinion is I think that he's just gonna. I think he has he had like 6 months added on, or 4 months added on to his contract because of his situation. So I think he's gonna basically kind of like not sit out, but like do kind of like a couple matches here and there, not really have any kind of creative point, and then I think he's gonna bounce when his contract's up.
Probably. I mean, he'll probably put over a few people. Maybe, you know, like younger guys. This point,
yeah.
Do house shows, and it kind of sucks, but it's like, you know, what are they going to do with him? You know, I think I hate to be that guy, but I think he would actually be cool in AEW. So what I hate about like the AEW fanboys, what I hate about the AEW fanboys is that every time like someone at WWE doesn't get used, they're like, oh, he should go to AEW. And then it's like you're going to take everybody from WWE and put them on AEW. And then that roster is going to be so bloated that you're not going to see anybody, you know?
So I agree with you on that because I think AEW has a lot of wrestlers on their roster.
Yeah.
And they technically have 2 shows, but technically 1. But I guess
the dark matches on.
Yeah. So I do agree with you on that. I would definitely say that there are definitely mid-carders on WWE who have huge potential talent that don't get used and are just there because WWE is the powerhouse of the business and they just want to sign anyone, right?
Yeah.
And have like no care in the world of what like to do with them. That like those guys would actually genuinely like succeed in AEW. Like for a standpoint, I agree with you, but also I think like those guys could legitimately actually be better in AEW. Like you look at Dean Ambrose, Moxley now, bro, he was completely underutilized, man. I mean,
was he though?
I mean, 1 championship run.
He won every belt though in the WWE.
Oh, I guess he did.
He won Intercontinental, US, Tag Champs, and he had that his championship run wasn't bad. But at the end it was stupid when he did the Seth Rollins thing. That was dumb. So I understood why he left after that.
Oh, wait, with Roman Reigns announcing that he had leukemia?
And then it was like Ambrose versus Rollins, and they were doing like stupid things, and I was like, okay, I understand why he left. That was really dumb.
Well, they had him do stupid shit for like and like saying dumbass shit too, which was like, well, he obviously didn't want to say any or do any of those things.
Yeah, but I think he like he was one of the top guys though when he was at WWE. I would think like he was the next like him, Seth Rollins, Roman Reigns are like the next tier of like.
How many titles did Rollins and Reigns get?
They did get a lot more, but I think Reigns is at 3.
I mean, I get that he won a lot of. I get he's a Grand Slam champion, right?
Yeah,
I get that. I think that his caliber was more. He should have been utilized more as a main eventer, and he wasn't because they had guys like Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins, Brock Lesnar, basically just being there just to be there. AJ Styles at the time, obviously, but like you had these other guys, but like, and I just feel like Dean Ambrose was just, or Moxley, what the fuck you want to call him? He was, I feel like he just was there, like he was there doing his thing, and he fucking succeeded at doing his thing. You know what I mean? Yeah. I just think that like he didn't get that push that he deserved to do more. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I feel like more he could have been. He could have been able to I don't know. I mean, I think in terms of stardom, in terms of like spotlight, he's getting a lot of that more on AEW than he is with WWE, or than he did with WWE.
See, I think the hard part with when he was at WWE was that there were so many big names, like you just mentioned, where everybody, like all the big names, should be getting a title.
Exactly. That's the thing with WWE.
Should have a title belt all the time.
Yeah, and he's excellent. AJ Styles is legit. Yeah. You know, that's the problem though. Like that's the thing with WWE. Like I said, they're such a powerhouse company that, and like obviously at the time AEW didn't exist. I mean, you have like TNA, Ring of Honor, but like AEW is probably the closest right now to what WWE is. I would say. I think they definitely surpassed TNA. They definitely surpassed Ring of Honor. So I think at the time, WWE is such a powerhouse and so big, and like no one wanted to go anywhere else other than WWE. So WWE's like, yeah, fucking, we got talent the yin yang. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you get too much talent, you don't know what to do with.
I think that's what I mean by when I say everybody saying they should go to AEW is that like if all those mid cards migrate to AEW is going to have that same problem because they don't have a mid card belt right now.
No.
And like you have like maybe like 5 to 6 guys that you could actually see winning the AEW championship. And if you're bringing in more people, it's just going to be a cluster, you know?
And that's what I'm scared of. I'm scared that AEW is going to bring in more people, and it's just going to be too many wrestlers. And like because they don't have a mid-card title, it's like they're going to have too many wrestlers with they don't even know what the fuck to do with. You know what I mean?
It seems like they're going towards like a 6-man championship belt. Yeah, tag belt.
Which is pretty neat, you know?
Yeah, I mean, it's something different.
And AEW has been like, I think their staple, their bread and butter, honestly, is the tag team division. Like, they're based off the tag team division. You know what I mean?
Which I like.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I feel like we lost what it really means to, like, since the early 2000s, where you had, like, the Dudleys, the Hardys, Edge and Christian, like, had, like, these top talented, like, tag teams then that who would put on freaking show after show after show. Yeah. Where, like, now, like, I would say, like, the last, like, 5-6 years at least with WWE, you really don't have that. I mean, you have the Usos, the Revival, but, like, I feel like what AEW is doing right now with their tag team division is a lot more than what WWE was doing. Yeah,
I think WWE just doesn't put the stories into it. Like, that Elimination Chamber match, the tag match that they just had, that was amazing.
That dude, and I think they actually legitimately put like thought in like they actually wanted it to be really good. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like if they keep doing that, then you're going to be good to go. The problem is they don't do that often. Like, you can't do that for one pay-per-view at a time. You know what I mean?
They have the talent to build the tag division to be amazing. They just don't put the stories behind it. You know?
Yeah. And exactly. And you got like the Street Profits. The Street Profits to me are a great tag team. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. They're solid guys.
They're going to come up with the same problem is that they're not going to have anybody to fight because like they're just going to keep repeating the same matches over and over again, you know? And then like it's either they're going to hold the belts for really long and they're going to have the Becky Lynch problem where like they don't have any competition, so they just get boring because they just have the belts and they beat everyone.
Yeah. Oh, it's true. It's
Or
true.
they're just going to lose it quickly, you know?
Yep. Which is kind of like, I don't know. I mean, whatever. I mean, I don't know. But I like going back to Moxley. I really like. Did you watch Revolution or you saw like highlights, right?
Yeah.
Dude, the tag team matchup between Paige, Omega, and the Young Bucks, bro.
Yeah.
That tag team match was like that tag team match reminded me of WrestleMania 17 tag team, the three-way tag team match with the Dudleys, Hardys, and Edge Christian. That's how good of a caliber that match was. It was amazing. And with John Moxley and Chris Jericho, like obviously Chris Jericho was like the bread and butter, like he was a staple.
Yeah.
You had Hangman at the time last year at All In, but obviously he didn't get that kind of reception at that time. So Chris Jericho obviously ended up becoming the guy. But dude, he put over Moxley so well.
Yeah.
That
everything he does is amazing.
Champion was like Revolution was the perfect time to make Moxley champ. That was gold.
Yeah.
Gold. And he's also I knew that he was good at promos with like WWE, but I didn't know how good he actually was. You know what I mean? And yeah, I mean he I don't know, man. I mean, I'm definitely on the Mox train for sure. I've always had been, even when he was Dean Ambrose in WWE. But I think you mentioned it before that these and call me now. I want to hear your take on this. Call me crazy. I think right now AEW has a few guys who could potentially be guys who could hold the belt, right? The heavyweight championship belt. You got obviously Chris Jericho, you have Moxley, you got Kenny Omega, and you got Hangman Page, right? Obviously, right now they're doing their storyline with the Young Bucks in the tag team division, which I think that's going to blow up soon.
Yeah.
But like you said before, AEW has like these guys that are like definitely willing and able to be champion caliber main eventers. I think that these guys remind me, and again, call me crazy, of like the early 2000s, late 90s WWE when they had like Triple H, Stone Cold, Kurt Angle, Jericho at that time, Undertaker, Kane, guys who were like you would believe to be able to hold belts. You know what I mean? I think AEW has those guys too. And like you have Mox who's over. You have Hangman who's completely over. You have Luchasaurus who's again doing his tag team thing, but Luchasaurus he could easily be a freaking a heavyweight championship title holder too. And you got obviously Omega. I mean, I like Omega. I know a lot of people shit on him. I mean, as a wrestler, I like him as a wrestler. I like what he does. I mean, I'm in on his gimmick. You
got Cody too.
And you got Cody, exactly. And you got Cody, and then not for nothing, bro. MJF, dude.
MJF.
He's not a mid card guy, bro. He's a main eventer, dude.
I mean, I'm not a fan of Pac either, but I think he could.
Pac, I mean, he could push for it too, you know. But like those core guys that I mentioned, I feel like remind me of the core guys back in the early 2000s, 90s, of like guys who could like. At the time you had The Rock and Stone Cold who were baby faces, right? Then you had like Triple H and like Kurt Angle who were heels.
Yeah.
So it's like you have that here with AEW, you know what I mean? Like you don't need just one guy. Like right now I feel like the WWE just has like 2 or 3 guys that like they heavily rely on who are like babyface or heel. And like you don't have that John Cena basically is what I'm trying to say. But I feel like AEW potentially has those stars that they could utilize in the long run. That could be like the next Rock, next Stone Cold, next Triple H.
Yeah, no, you're right. Like I'm not going to put them on the level as those guys.
Yeah, no.
It's like it's the same. In that you could have like you could see like 6 to 7 different people being like champ. Like
Yeah.
WWE just doesn't build they don't build their characters enough where you can see anyone actually I can't see anybody beating Roman Reigns. Maybe Bray Wyatt, and that's about it on SmackDown.
Yeah, exactly.
Once Roman Reigns gets the belt, I'm assuming he's beating Goldberg. I think we all are. Who does he feud with?
I don't know. The Fiend?
That's not going to work because nobody's going to want Roman Reigns to win.
Exactly. Roman Reigns is, dude. They, for whatever reason, WWE loves putting Roman Reigns in a situation to lose. With fans.
Like Roman. Yeah, I like Roman, but they always put him in bad situations.
Always. And I like Roman too, man. I love his gimmick. I love what he does. He is your guy that that sparks the arena up. You know what I mean?
But did you see his promo on Friday?
Yeah.
I don't think that was scripted. I don't think they have writers scripting these promos for the past 2 shows because they're only minimal employees there.
His promo was actually pretty solid too.
That's why I'm saying it was really good. So I was like, I don't think that was scripted. I think that was him just talking. And I think when he just talks, he does so much better.
Well, I feel like that's another not to obviously to compare because that's inevitable. But you have AEW where these guys use their creative characters to basically do whatever the fuck they want. I mean, within certain guidelines, obviously, but at the end of the day, they're not scripted. Whereas WWE, you have guys like Roman Reigns, maybe Braun Strowman, who are given a fucking script that they fucking read off of, and it's it doesn't fit them. You know what I mean? Those guys, you gotta just let them talk. Yeah. Especially Roman Reigns. I mean, Roman Reigns, I feel like he could be so much better on the mic if he just let him free talk.
Yeah.
You know?
No, you're right.
Which is cool because I mean, again, that's how it's. I mean, not saying how it should be because I don't know the fucking business, but I feel like ideally that's how it should be. You create this character, you pitch it to the boss says yes, like Vince McMahon in this case, and then you let that person just develop his character. You know what I mean? Don't give him guidelines on how. Don't give him don't force him to say this, and this.
I think there's some
that shit.
I think there's some people that need that script, that can't actually cut a promo.
Well, I mean, yeah. I mean, then obviously you do what you gotta do, but
yeah, I'm not sure
a guy if you fucking have to go off the script. You know what I mean?
I'm not sure if Ricochet's good or not. I can't tell if he's good at cutting.
He's in between, bro. He's in between. I don't know either.
He's so bad. And I see them scripted, so I've never seen him do it unscripted. So he might be really good, but the scripted promos he gets are so bad that it's just okay, I don't trust this guy to ever speak.
I know, isn't it? Oh my god, it's crazy.
They need to bring back managers for people, honestly.
Oh, well, they should, but Paul Heyman is the manager.
I know, they have Zelina Vega, but she barely even speaks.
That's what I'm saying. And I remember they did the Zabuki Warriors with Paige.
Yeah.
Until they turned on her, and then Paige just became a backstage person on Fox.
Yeah.
Like you said, they don't have legitimate managers now that just talk. Yeah. But, I don't know. It's just the two worlds are so different between AEW and WWE, and obviously me personally, I gave AEW the chance in the very beginning, bro. I was all about it even before Double or Nothing. Yeah. And when I watched Double or Nothing, I was I get it. They don't have these big stocky dudes who I guess wrestlers are supposed to be, but they're all technical wrestlers who could wrestle.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Which I mean, they botch a lot of moves and stuff, but that's here neither near nor there. But yeah, man, I was on that train. I was on the AEW hype train from the get-go, and up to this point, I had to admit to you, man, I absolutely love what they do. Love it. I love it.
I'm one of those guys. I like both. I don't obviously I get pissed with WWE because I see their content a lot more, and they have 10 hours of content a week. But So not everything's going to be good. AEW would do the same thing if they had 10 hours of content. Not everything would be good. There's going to be a lot of garbage, but I think AEW does a really good job with what they do. You know, like the only thing I don't like about AEW is when they try and take shots at WWE. Like I don't understand that. WWE is not going anywhere. Like like do your thing because you're doing good. Like just keep focus on yourself. You know, like
you gotta poke the bear, bro. You gotta poke the bear. You might not like it at the end, but fuck it, you gotta poke the bear.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense to me because it's like, yo, you can have like another huge wrestling company and still be successful. Like,
I'll say
because now,
guys like Chris Jericho deserve to fucking shit on WWE.
oh, Chris Jericho can, but like when I see like
got that right, bro. You got that right.
On doing it, I'm like, okay, dude, just relax.
Yeah, like stop. Like him, Cody Rhodes too. But like that's it. And then maybe Mox. Maybe you can push for Mox. But other than that, like no one should be shit. No one should be saying anything about WWE. You know, like those guys, just let those guys who actually been there, done that type of thing. But like you said, when you have Kong fucking coming out there or Pac or whoever, it's like stop. Just stop.
Yeah. I think both companies are doing like really good. Like
which is good. I mean, which is good, man. It's good for business. It's good for them. Like, and don't get me wrong. Like, I don't hate WWE. You know, I still watch the program too. I just I find myself watching more obviously AEW because I just find it to be at least on a weekly basis a little better.
It's just like they have 2 hours of content to fill, so like those 2 hours are going to be really good compared to WWE doing 3 hours of Raw, 2 hours of SmackDown, and 2 hours of NXT. Where like not everything's gonna be good. You're gonna have like garbage segments, which is just gonna be like, all right, that didn't hit, but you got to fill up.
Like the whole Britt Baker thing, I'm not sure. Like, have you been paying attention to that?
Oh, with Swole and
like her like being heel now and stuff. Like her and Tony Schiavone come out and like they kind of like cut a quick promo. Like me personally, I'm not a fan of it. I'm sure people are. I'm sure people aren't. I mean, I just think it's like her being a heel just doesn't seem to fit. She seems uncomfortable as a heel.
Okay,
you know. Big Swole finally made a freaking TV appearance.
I know.
The women's division, I definitely got to admit though, is kind of on the shaky end.
But so is
so is WWE in a sense too. You know what I mean? But I think like you have staples. Like you have these women who are legitimate wrestlers who are good. You know, like Chris Statlander. I think she's phenomenal. You know what I mean? Yeah. But I don't know. It's like when you compare like the women's division in the WWE and AEW, I think WWE has an edge for sure. I think at the same time they're both like the same. It's the same shit. You know what I mean?
Well, I think WWE has a lot more women, so they're gonna have better talent. But like neither one of them like builds their stories too great. Like I don't care about Becky and Shayna Baszler.
See, but I thought that would be an exciting matchup.
But they didn't build it up to like make it interesting. Like,
but you're right, they didn't. They kind of just like Survivor Series, the whole Raw versus SmackDown, Raw versus NXT.
Yeah,
like, they didn't do enough to create the building blocks to create that match to be to where it should be.
Like Charlotte versus Ripley actually has a little bit of a build, which I like. I'm more interested in that, you know, and they're both great. But like that's the reason I think people are starting to hate on Becky is because like she hasn't had a good storyline since last WrestleMania.
Her content got old. But is that on her or is that on creative?
I don't think that's on her because they could build up people to her level where it's actually interesting. They just don't take the time to do it, you know?
Yeah. And it's true because I feel like they have enough to be able to. At least they should have enough to be able to build her up and like kind of change her direction and change her character so it's fresh and new and people could actually like get into it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I don't know. I think that I don't know, dude. I just feel like it's I don't know. It's just one of the. I don't know how I feel about the women's division, but
I think they'll figure it out, but it's just I think AEW is going to figure it out. It's just going to take a little time, and I don't know WWE. Like in 2K, I gave the women their own TV show, and I was just like, and I put every woman on the roster.
That's awesome.
And I was like, yo, I can make it interesting. I can have a mid card belt, and I can have tag belts, and actually use them, and then you have like a 40-woman roster where you can do different storylines. Between SmackDown, Raw, and NXT, there's probably like 7 to 8 women on each show, but then like they can't cross paths, so it's just like you only got like 7 to 8 women to like work with on a story, you know?
That's true. That's true. That's true. But I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how everything kind of pans out. But I mean, I like certain stars AEW has in the female division, in the women's division. But I mean, we'll see what happens. I feel like they could do more. They should do more, but they just have, like you said, they have only 2 hours of content that they got to put on a weekly basis. That it's
hard to fit everything in there, man.
Exactly.
That's the thing. If they keep getting like more wrestlers, it's just like they're gonna have to get another TV show.
Yeah. So supposedly, I think they did the thing with like TNT where they'll renew or they have a contract until like 2024 or some shit like that.
Yeah.
And then they're gonna add Dark as a second episode. Like Dark's just gonna be their second episode. It's not so, which will be cool. But yeah, we'll see what happens with that. I think. Well, yeah, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens with that. But I'm excited for both companies. Obviously, I'm excited for AEW. Hopefully,
they're back and like with fans soon.
Yeah, I know, and hopefully this whole coronavirus thing, hopefully that shit blows over and everything can kind of get back to normal.
Yeah,
I know AEW has their next pay-per-view is Double or Nothing in May, in Vegas.
We'll see. Hopefully,
so,
fingers crossed that pans out. That would be cool. That'd be a nice trip to go to. Like,
bro, I actually saw tickets on StubHub. Dude, cheap.
And everything's cheap now because like nobody knows what's gonna happen.
I know. But I would love to go out there, bro. I would love to go out there. Yo, you know what I want to do? Not that it matters, but International Fight Week. I want to go to that. That's in July. It's like a whole. It's like think of it as like WrestleMania week.
Yeah.
But like UFC.
Okay, that's cool. I was thinking NXT, the takeover around SummerSlam, because they're in Boston.
Boston? Oh, hey, where's SummerSlam? SummerSlam's in Boston too, right?
Yeah. So NXT is that they usually have the takeover the night before, and that's on a Saturday night, which is fine because then we don't have to stay Sunday till like midnight to watch SummerSlam. You know?
Shit, we should go.
Yeah.
I'd be down.
If everything's back to normal soon, you know, we could plan things out, you know?
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see how this all works out. I mean, who the hell knows when this whole Corona thing is going to fucking die down. I'm hoping May. I'm hoping at least June the latest, but, I mean, we'll see.
I'm hoping, like, mid-April, fingers crossed.
Yeah, right? Yeah, fingers crossed. Mid-April would be nice because we need sports, like, now.
Yeah.
Now. But yeah, man, that's all we got. So I appreciate you coming on to the podcast. Thank you.
No problem, man. I enjoyed being here.
Dude, I'm looking forward to having you on again.
Yeah, hopefully.
Hopefully soon. Hopefully next week.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, we'll do it soon. We'll see where things are going. We'll definitely have more wrestling to talk about, hopefully.
I know. Well, yeah, I hope so too. I hope so too because we need content to talk about. You know what I'm saying? They ain't no sports thing. We got nothing. You know what I mean? You don't have fights. You don't have wrestling. What the hell are we good for on the Fisticuffs podcast?
Absolutely nothing, man.
Absolutely nothing.
We're just gonna like watch an old episode of Raw together, and we're just gonna talk about like what happened from like 2002.
Yeah, we'd be like, I'll be like on the UFC Fight Pass. We'll be like on the WWE Network. We'll be just watching like old matches and stuff,
Yeah,
and
and
we're
then
talking about those.
we'll just break down those matches. That's what we'll do.
That's amazing. Oh my god. All right, man. Well, thank you again. We'll see you. Hopefully, see you next week. Hopefully, we got content to talk about. Again, thank you for coming on to the podcast.
Thanks for having me, man.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for listening to the Fisticuffs podcast. Follow us on YouTube. Like and subscribe. Go on Instagram at Fisticuffs Podcast on Instagram. Like us and follow us on Instagram as well. Thank you, guys. We greatly appreciate it. We love you guys so much. Thank you again. And Ant, thank you, buddy. I appreciate it.
Love you too.
All right, guys. Take care.